Welcome to Crypto Simulation Theory. I'm the Gaussian Snake. Tonight, we're going to talk about Bitcoin and see if it is indeed primed for a bullish run to new all-time highs this year, or if it's destined to roll back over and not achieve much other than maybe just a slightly higher high or even a lower high. That's what we'll talk about tonight. We're going to first need to take a look at the stock market because Bitcoin is unlikely to make any dramatic moves if the stock market is weak. So we should look there first. Just as a reminder, this is not financial advice. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go look at the stock market. So this is the stock market on the 2 week, specifically the SPX. And I want you to notice a few things. The most bullish part of this trend is that the Gaussian channel is getting increasingly tight and concave up on the 2 week time frame. We've seen this with Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin just tends to kind of follow what the stock market does most of the time. We also see this really impressive downwick where the stock market went to about 4,800, just around the median line of this Gaussian channel, and it is currently coming back up. The 2 week Gunnar EMA is still technically in a bull market support band formation. We have not received a bearish cross on this metric. We are getting resistance, however, at the top of this boundary. If we look under the hood a little bit, I just picked a few random indicators. You'll see that with the average sentiment oscillator, the bull bubble is starting to close in. We have had some pretty significant bearishness happen over the past several months. And this could potentially be concerning, or it could just open right back up. The stochastic oscillator did bottom on March 17th, and it is heading back up right now. Is it going to go to the top zone again or roll back over? That's a great question. If you look at the ADX and DI on the 2 week, one thing I do notice is that the red DI is coming down after making the cross with the ADX. ADX is at a score of 30, so the trend is still fairly volatile, but it is coming down in strength, and the bear trend may be closing in, indicating some further bullish price action could be likely here. Hard to believe, but the stock market made it all the way down, even below its 400-week whole moving average. That's in red. It is still below its 200-week whole moving average, which is not a great thing. That is looking like an area of where potential resistance could happen on an uptrend. We also are having a little bit of difficulty getting past the 40-week, although I think we will be able to get past it. It is kind of inflecting at the moment. And there looks like there already was a death cross of the 40-week with the 200-week. And this is the 100-week in blue. The 100-week looks like it's about to death cross with the 200-week. So that's not really like something I would look at and say is incredibly bullish. So even though it does look like some more bullish price action may take place in the coming weeks, it looks like the stock market is more likely to roll over again than not. And relief rallies can be quite impressive. They can take you near the previous all-time high, but I think based on what I'm seeing in the formations here, that the stock market taking out its previous all-time high is quite unlikely right now. If we look at initial claims, like initial jobless claims, the data is clearly trending in the wrong direction, but nothing that alarming yet. Just seems to be building out a base. So it's, there's nothing really showing us that unemployment is moving up in like an aggressive way right now. Not too happy to see continued claims also kind of trending up, but notice how it's kind of flatlined just under 2 million. So that's, again, nothing really that concerning at the moment. United States real GDP has come down a little bit, but nothing's really like standing out and ringing alarm bells that we're in a recession or about to head into one. SOM rule has come down considerably to 0.27, no longer saying that a recession is likely. Inflation has been coming down, and this is using the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The true inflation data likely shows it even lower than where it is right now. The main issue is the federal funds rate remains elevated, and we're likely to see a continued rate pause in just another 2 days, right? It's May 5th as I'm recording this video, not anticipating rate cuts in 2 days. The market agrees with me, 97% chance that the Fed holds rates steady and continues quantitative tightening towards the end of Q2. And in a surprise to me, and this will definitely affect some of my forecasts for other things, It looks like June might also imply a rate freeze. I didn't think that was going to happen. I really thought we'd see a rate cut by June, but now the market is pushing that out all the way to July, so Q3 for quantitative easing. So this is pretty crazy seeing all this data. So what does this mean? I guess the big question is, has the stock market already bottomed? If it has, then Bitcoin likely bottomed before it did. The Heikin-Ashi candles on the 2-week look really good for Bitcoin. I'm not going to lie. Although we did recently have a death cross of the 40-week with the 100-week, Bitcoin has been holding the line on its 200-week, unlike the stock market, which has been below it and is currently beneath it. It's a little bit hard to fathom that. So, I mean, if the stock market has already bottomed, which is possible, then it wouldn't be out of the question for Bitcoin to build out a base for a move higher. Now, with the market still stuck in a quantitative tightening mode, it's kind of hard to imagine anything but Bitcoin doing like remarkably well. Um, but this is something to kind of note. Now, if we go under the hood with Bitcoin, I do want to point out something that has made me stubborn about, saying that we're about to head into another parabolic uptrend. And this could be it could really be my undoing, right? If I'm wrong about this, because I've been so stubborn. I've said, I don't think Bitcoin's going to go on to put in a new all-time high right now. And if you look at the Heikin-Ashi candles, that, definitely isn't inspiring confidence in my theory. But if you look at the 2-week reverse Chandy momentum oscillator, this is something that if you've been following me for any length of time, I've talked about a lot. You can see that Bitcoin achieved some pretty historically high levels that have not been achieved since 2013, back over here, almost 11 years to the day, really. And then you kind of got this like head and shoulders formation that has formed, right? You've got the shoulder over here, you've got a head right here, and a clear shoulder right here. So my intuition tells me that this needs to come down further. And I don't know if we'll have to see what Jerome Powell says, on Wednesday. But honestly, what I've just seen now, market participants are pricing in a rate freeze in June. So I don't know if the broader market is really going to like that. That's a lot of quantitative tightening, folks. Like that's a lot. I mean, we're going on practically 3 years of QT at this point with minimal rate cuts. So, well, I don't think we need to cut down to like, zero or anything like that. You have to think this is probably not going to be great for the stock market. I feel like the Fed is trying to break the stock market and it just hasn't happened yet. Although I think it will likely break. But seeing this pattern does concern me. Of course, one indicator is not enough. Here's the 2-week Snavel RSI, and you can see it's really reaching, right? But it's been putting in like lower lows. And so is this about to go back up into the, above the red zone? Which, I mean, it's already spent quite a bit of time up there for Bitcoin, more than it, I'd say about as much as it usually does during any bull market. So I'm kind of skeptical that it can do that, honestly. I don't think it will. If you look at the kernel line on the wave trend, it's coming down, right? It's heading towards zero. We're getting some pretty large bearish divergences relative to what we've gotten in the past. So again, this is not inspiring a lot of confidence that we're just about to reverse here. We are seeing a reversal, like we're seeing this kind of go green, but we're not necessarily going to see a big bullish divergence happen here. There's no evidence to suggest that in the wave trend. So we had our buying climax in February, late February, on the Wyckoff volume momentum indicator. And we've just seen buy volume kind of just taper off ever since then. Sell volume has as well. As you can see, just volume in general is contracting. So there is likely a big move coming. The question is, will it be an upside move or a downside move? I think we are going to move up a little bit higher, but I'm skeptical, especially with what I'm seeing in the stock market, that Bitcoin can do a whole lot here of good anyway. Bitcoin supply and profit is still quite high. I mean, with like nearly 86% in profit. And we've seen periods like this before that preceded a bear market drawdown, right? We've seen this happen before. If you go back in history, the times when Bitcoin supplies and profit for like a long period of time, usually there's a drawdown. We have yet to see that drawdown in this cycle. It doesn't have to be a dramatic drawdown all the way to the green zone, but we usually see some kind of drawdown. There definitely are some conflicting signals. I mean, Bitcoin looks bullish when you look at the chart. There's not a lot of resistance overhead outside of this 100-week, which Bitcoin can easily break through. I mean, it's done it before when it's gotten above its 40-week. And if we go to the weekly time frame, Bitcoin looks even more bullish. It's stuck at a death cross of the 50 and 100-week. Just but the 20-week is curling up. It successfully overcame its 200-week, potentially forming like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. This is bullish as well. And on the daily time frame, we have even more bullishness. I mean, we've got a Gaussian channel that just flipped green for the first time in quite a while. Um, it just barely started turning green. So this again, like with Gaussian channels on the daily time frame, you don't necessarily want to get too invested in those because you can get a very light strip of green and then it can go red again. But you can see that there's this resistance that recently happened at the 20 day, right around 97.5K. Bitcoin did slip underneath its 50-day. There's a death cross about to happen of these two moving averages. The death cross of the 20 and the 50 is not that concerning. Usually points to some more consolidation potentially being needed. Maybe Bitcoin will test the upper boundary of its Gaussian channel. But everything here is kind of like lining up in a bullish way. So we've got conflicting information, right? There's definitely some conflicting information. And, it's like the more you zoom out, like this is the monthly, you can see Bitcoin's finding resistance on its 20-month consistently, right? And that's not bullish. It could rocket through that 20-month, but, it's just not looking as bullish like on the higher time frame. So on lower time frames, I'd say the 2-week itself looks bullish. Like if you just look at the chart, but when you look under the hood, you see some concerning signs. The weekly looks very bullish. As you can see right here, nice bounce off the Gaussian channel and right back up just to this death cross that may or may not confirm. So you see bullish signs, right? And so it's very easy to look at this chart and look at some moving averages and get bullish. But I'm not bullish right now. And like I said, this could be my downfall. I am short-term bullish. I think there's a chance Bitcoin could even take out its previous highs. My base case is that it won't. My base case is it will hit resistance. That's very risky considering Bitcoin is not far away at all from its all-time high right now. I mean, it's like 14% away from its all-time high. So I could be wrong in a very big way here. Bitcoin could conceivably go to 128, 132K. Why do I pick those numbers in particular? Well, those correspond to, where's my fibs? Those correspond to the 1.414 fib level, right? So that would be a logical place for a stop if Bitcoin is going to go on a run right now and put in a slightly higher high. It could happen. I will not rule it out, but I don't think it's going to go higher than that. The highest I could see it going to is the 1.414 fib. It does look likely to have some kind of breakout, and it might break out past the 1.272. My base case that I've been public about is that it wouldn't, so I'll stick with that. But I want to at least acknowledge that there is a chance it could break out here. Okay, I don't want to like lead you to believe it couldn't happen. It can absolutely happen. It's just the indicators underneath the hood on the 2-week are telling me that whatever upside is left for Bitcoin, it probably won't last that much longer. And if Bitcoin did make it to the 1.414 fib, let's say, in between these two fibs at 104 to 128K, I mean, that's really just putting it between 60 and just slightly above 70 risk. 100 risk is now pretty much at $200,000. That would be sort of like, I think a cycle ending top, if it were to happen this year, would be between like 170, 180 to 200,000, somewhere in there. Again, that's not my base case. I don't think Bitcoin has a momentum to get up there right now. I think it needs to chop for a while longer. And especially if the stock market takes a dip, I think Bitcoin will dip with it. We do have declining buy and sell volume. Okay, so this could flip bullish very quickly if we see a big spike in buy volume. But right now the risk is right in the middle at 53.24, just kind of business as usual. Okay, this is a 150-week linear regression channel that's has a correlation to the data of 0.96, 2 standard deviations to the top and 2 standard deviations to the bottom from the median line. And this channel has been preserved very nicely, just oscillating around for almost 3 years now. So we did breach the top of this channel in March of 2024. That was a significant top. And clearly, we tried to challenge the top of the channel twice in December and January, but that just didn't happen. We actually bounced off the bottom of the channel in April, and we're still below the median line. So where is the median line located? Well, it's located at just above the 1.272 fib. This is why I said Bitcoin could go on to put a higher high in. It is possible. Like, to do that, it would just have to get to the median line, pretty much get above it. If Bitcoin can get above the median line, then it stands a real chance at challenging the 1.414 fib. Best case scenario would be up here at the just beneath the 1.618. Okay, if it wanted to preserve this channel. What I'm more concerned about is a rejection at the median line and a break of this channel to the downside. I am afraid of a bear market right now in the stock market. And because of that, it keeps me kind of worried about crypto as well. Participation in crypto is extremely low right now. I do CTO a project, and I'm a part of many other project groups, have my own Telegram group, and activity has really dropped off a cliff just across the board. So that is something that also concerns me. But if anything's going to run, like if you're going to have anything in your crypto portfolio that stands a chance at actually doing well right now, I think Bitcoin is the chosen one. And, we need only look at Bitcoin dominance to really confirm that. Bitcoin dominance is, I guess, in a channel of its own, 0.97. Wow, that's pretty strong. I didn't really count on having the fibs and everything here, but yeah, Bitcoin dominance is just one green candle after another. It's back above its median line. It is encountering some resistance at the 786 fib, but it's impressive that it's even up here at these levels, 65% dominance. That's crazy, absolutely crazy. And if we put a Gaussian channel on here, I hate to say it, but 2025 has been a Bitcoin year. I didn't think it would be. I really didn't. I'm surprised that it is. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised because of everything is all about liquidity, and right now we don't have the kind of liquidity in the market that we want to have. So Bitcoin dominance just riding this thing up, like straight up. Is it potentially going to get to the 886 fib? Could that be a blow off top area? I never thought so. I never thought that was possible, but that would actually take us back to lo and behold, late 2020 levels. I mean, yeah, or not. Is this late 2020? No, I'd say late 2019 to early 2020 levels, which is ironically kind of what I've been comparing this time period to, right? Because we had high interest rates back then, the threat of a looming recession. It was pretty much a Bitcoin only bull market for the first part of 2019, and then Bitcoin dominance just it was coming down, right? But it wasn't like coming down aggressive. I mean, it's different than this time, right? This time it's almost like we're here, it's just going up and up and up and up, right? We got a dip to the Gaussian channel. This dip is an indicator to me of coming weakness in Bitcoin dominance, but we're just not there yet. Like, it's just clearly a Bitcoin market. So we're not going to see altcoins do a whole lot while this is happening. Yeah, it's riding the upper part of this channel. I think there's a good chance it makes it near the top of the channel, outside my green zone. My green zone was wrong. I might as well take this away at this point or move it. Okay, seriously, I just move it right there. Make that my new green zone. Okay, but I was wrong. I'm not going to sit here and be bragging about something that I clearly got wrong. So dominance is going a lot higher than I thought it would. What is the RCMO looking like for dominance on the 2 week? I actually don't have any idea. I haven't looked at this in a while. It's getting pretty toppy, folks. Like, it really is. I mean, we are at levels where tops for Bitcoin dominance have occurred. So, and this is kind of in line with my ETH Bitcoin theories that I've been very public about. Signal line is still green, but we are at some levels, like this level of 70 has actually been a topping level in the past. We've only gone higher very few times. Like in 2019, September 2019, we went a little bit higher. And in the depths of the bear market of 2018, we went even higher than that. So we are pretty much at our third high. Arguably, we're tied with October 2015. So we're at our fourth highest RCMO level ever. This tells me while Bitcoin dominance could make it to the 886 potentially, I think it's very unlikely that it goes any higher than that. I really do. I mean, I'm already surprised at how high it's gone. So, yeah, right now I think as half one of the year winds down, I think this will pretty much be looked at as a Bitcoin year up to this point, and I do strongly believe that that will change in half two. I used to think maybe June it would change, but shoot, I mean, if we get a rate cut freeze all the way through June, and that means half one of the year is entirely QT. And we'll just have to kick the can down the road on that. I'll reflect on this in a different video, but that's kind of where things stand with regards to Bitcoin. So I think it makes sense to be cautiously bullish on Bitcoin, to give it the opportunity maybe to get to its 1.414 fib at around $128,000 if all the stars align and the stock market doesn't roll over anytime soon. But I can't really see it doing much more than that. A lot of the upside momentum has been exhausted, um, by earlier moves on longer time frames, like the move in March, for instance, the move in December of last year. So, yes, we are getting into the summer and things have cooled off, and that's what's allowing this upside move to happen. But I am skeptical that this is anything other than just, a dead cat bounce by the stock market and by Bitcoin. Maybe it puts in a slightly higher high, a macro double top kind of situation, triple top if you want to like go there, but I would say more like a double top. I mean, a higher high is a higher high, right? So, but I think it's going to roll over. I really do. One way or another, I think we're rolling over into a period similar to what happened in early 2020. But of course, things won't be exactly the same as they were then. So, look, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Bitcoin does a lot better than I think it's going to do. But I think that we're going to have to go through some pain in the market, especially if the stock market. Now, if the stock market has already bottomed and it goes on to put in a higher high and just keeps going up, then I think my entire theory about what's going to happen to Bitcoin is going to be wrong. So, I can't predict the future, and that's why you should never take what I'm saying as financial advice. It's just a perspective that you can use in your litany of perspectives that you have to try to make reasonable guesses about what might happen and position yourself accordingly. So, yeah, I mean, I'm short-term bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish right there with you, but medium-term bearish, and then long-term bullish. So, I'm looking at a period of time, I think, in half two of the year where Bitcoin may encounter some trouble, especially if the stock market does. And Bitcoin may put in a lower low, and the stock market may put in something lower than 4,800 too on a hard landing. Could it be a recession? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. There's also the possibility, as a counterpoint, that Bitcoin and the stock market just rally straight into a recession. I mean, that's usually what happens, right? Is that markets are irrational longer than they can remain solvent, meaning that you'll see your economy starting to kind of fall apart, and yet the markets just keep going up. So that could also happen. We could see a parabolic blow off top this year by Bitcoin. That's just not my base case. My base case, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'm doing the best I can with the data that I have, and that's all I can possibly do. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like and share this video if you enjoyed the content. It really helps with the algorithm. Follow me on Telegram. I've got a great Telegram channel with lots of people in there that give their perspectives and ask some really intelligent questions. I've also got a Twitter account and an Instagram, a bunch of other stuff you can check down in the links in my video description. So best of luck to you trading this difficult market. I will see you again next time. Remember, this is not financial advice. Stay safe out there in the crypto simulation.